welcome back to Coast to Coast. I'm joined by my lovely co-hosts. We got Anthony and Broofy, and we're gonna be bringing you another wonderful episode of the
Banger.
Coast to Coast podcast. We're on our way to winning our first award for best podcast of the year.
That's right.
You guys,
We're nominated, right?
Yeah, no, nominations haven't been finalized yet, but I'm sure we'll be on the list. Yeah, we'll be first ballot. You don't got to worry about that.
We're for sure gonna be
So, want to give a shout out to all of you listening at home. You're the ones who make this possible. We appreciate it. We got quite the one in store for us. Anthony, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, well, it's been a while since we've recorded. We've had some technical issues on my end and whatnot, and as well as other scheduling stuff going on. So this is actually our first recording in quite a while. So it's actually a lot of fun to play catch up today. That's mostly what this is going to be about. A lot of small talk, a lot of catch up, a lot of what we've been doing over the last few weeks at this point. And so and then we've got a little small fun little game at the end, a little twist on a draft that we've done a couple years ago. So yeah, stay tuned for that. As usual, of course, if you enjoy the rest of this episode, please consider supporting us by liking the video, commenting with suggestions for other topics or just for engagement, and subscribe to the channel.
And share.
Yes, share with your friends, enemies, family. Absolutely, 100%. All right, yeah.
Absolutely.
So we all know about my plights over the past few weeks. Really, it's been the past few months. The few
Right.
episodes that have been out over the past couple months have been because we hit this golden hour where my internet was okay and it stayed stable the whole time. We actually have a few episodes that have been scrapped because the internet was so bad. Like, it would just be such an editing nightmare and everything. And like the 21 questions episode that we did, that was actually a fun thing, and it was really funny because of how awful it was. But on my end, that stuff doesn't happen. So if I had one of your perspectives of what was happening for me, that would be fine. But we don't have that. So all unfortunate stuff, but all occupational hazards. And that's why we also had a library of stuff, so that way I could upload it every couple weeks to make sure that the channel doesn't go cold. So
Absolutely.
yeah. But anyway,
Go
I've
cold.
done-
It
yeah,
doesn't
go-
have a pulse anymore.
honestly, it hasn't even been birthed yet. You know what I mean? It's still in the womb cooking.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
I've rambled long enough. How are you guys doing? How's life been?
Go
You
ahead,
guys
take
do
it
it.
away, Broofy.
Okay, I'll go ahead.
No, you.
Well, I'll go ahead. Well, I'll be brief. You guys know what I've been up to. I have been, doing my applications for dental school. I took my test. I received my score. I was happy with it. I was not disappointed with it. However, I had a feeling that I could have done a little better. And this is not me saying that I regret my score or saying that I was upset with my score. I wasn't at all. All of the marks that I got for each section were above what I wanted. So I wasn't upset, but I felt that I could have gone a little more, right? So
Right.
my current plan is I am still working on my application. I have a few things to work on. My weekend and my next week planned out because I am submitting my application on the 20th. No, I don't think I'm going to be submitting all of them, but that week of the 20th, I will be submitting my applications and paying them. So going broke.
That sucks. Yeah.
Not fun, but I'm looking forward to it because that's what I chose. I put myself in this.
It's not something that you just now are figuring out. This is something that you've planned for. Yeah.
So in regards to my test, I'm going to schedule another attempt in September. So I'm going to be studying for that as well. Again, not that I need it. I do think I can get in dental school with what I have now.
But
But,
there's one thing, and that you are not compliant. You are a legend. You strive for greatness, and that's why you're going to be retaking the test.
I think maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm goated. Right.
Ah, yes.
But so that's listen, it's not exactly that, but a little bit more. I felt like I could have gotten more, and that just helps my application. It doesn't harm my application. So to put it shortly, I'm submitting my application soon. I have a few things to work on. Tomorrow, I'm gonna sit down and pretty much finish my personal statement. I have it finished pretty much. I have the structure down. I have everything down that I want to type. I just have to sit down and type it, and then over the weekend edit it. Been a lot of focus on just working on the entire application, adding because there's a bunch of sections, a bunch of things you have to add, your past experiences, your past achievements. So it's not just filling out information, putting your personal statement, take the test and send it. There's a bunch of things you have to write. So that's kind of been my focus. And hopefully I get some interviews. Just need one. I'll be happy with one. I never think that I could have done more. You know, I'm glad that I'm doing what I can.
No regrets. Yeah,
No.
You're
no.
content.
that's great.
So that's where I'm at right now. I'll stop waffling.
Hell yeah, man.
Yes, sir.
In other news,
Oh,
I finally
sorry.
have an
Last thing I'll
NBA
say, last thing I'll say.
championship.
I'm
Oh,
so
fuck.
sorry. Last thing I'll
Okay.
say. Marlins are goated. Holy shit.
I just got interrupted talking about an NBA Finals for fucking Miami
Yeah, yes, sir.
Marlins, dude.
Did we have a pod after Panthers won back-to-back? We did.
Yeah.
I think it was the summertime special. Yeah.
Yeah, but I gotta say it again. Panthers back-to-back, baby. All right, you take it away, Jake.
Hey, Panthers back to back, Oklahoma City Thunder by league rigging. You know what? Whatever. We're on the same page.
Yeah. Yeah. If only the Giants could, pull a little even year magic again.
That just means Giants are winning it this year.
The Giants or the 49ers, right? One of those two is going to happen.
I'm so sure of it, Anthony. I'm not paying for no fucking applications. I'm placing all of that money into betting the Giants are winning
no.
this year.
Oh, no.
Dude,
I hope you have a,
there's only
contingency.
Oh no, I have nothing.
Dude, there's only one thing that is financially responsible to do, and that's to pull out a second mortgage on your house and bet it all on blue. Go Royals.
Yeah, you know the classic meme, the person who doesn't strike gold just wasn't mining long enough. You got to keep going.
Exactly.
Anthony, when you finish your small talk, I have something else to add.
I really don't have much to say, A couple things have happened over the last few weeks, like the 4th of July, which was a lot of fun. And
I did absolutely nothing.
we had a little party, lit off some fireworks, drank stuff, ate stuff. I actually have some photos if you guys would like to see.
I
this
saw
new
on your
round.
IG, dude. That looks sick. Plug your IG. Plug your IG.
It's just my name, Anthony_Kramer. That's it. If you're interested in photography and keeping up with my everyday
that was really
opinions, yeah, that's basically it.
Believe
But,
me, he has a lot of opinions.
yeah, very, very passionate stuff.
Very opinionated.
So we got this. This was the first one.
That looks sick, bro.
A couple of these turned out weird, but that's kind of just how it goes when you're taking a bunch of photos.
The fireworks, the big, like beige, brownish one behind the red one, kind of looks like a palm tree, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what it is. Yeah.
The still picture of this firework is significantly better than every single drunk person's video of the 4th of July. That is phenomenal. I far prefer this form of media than the people who just record 60 seconds for 13 of the seconds to actually have fireworks in them, and the rest is just pitch black sky.
Yeah, and then also the firework itself is all blown out because the phone camera is not well equalized for the brightness and everything. Yeah, those videos suck. And look, I was drunk for half of these too, but we pulled off some cool stuff.
Oh yeah.
Not all of them turned out perfect, especially the alleged illegals that were shot up into the air, because it's a guessing game. You just have to point it up. Your canvas is black, so you can't really see anything when you're looking into the monitor, so you just kind of point it up and catch something. And so half of them turned out, half of them didn't, but there's one that's I thought was pretty cool. Then there's this one. Everyone was saying it looked like a night sky.
Night sky, I kind of got ocean vibes from it.
Interesting.
I get firework vibes from it.
Yeah, thank you.
That's what it was. God damn it! How did I not think of this? How did I not think of that? You hit it on the money there, man. That's clearly a firework. We got some purple, similar to the red one earlier, right? But this one's purple.
So it's better.
Wow, thanks for analytics. This one's purple. This one is red.
Yeah. This one was kind of wacky and weird. It's like little confetti, that
it's
pops
like a
out.
Christmas tree. It's like a Christmas tree being built.
I suppose.
It's a small Christmas tree. It's a small Christmas tree.
Yeah, I
Dude,
suppose.
it's literally just Buddy the Elf, but blown up.
Yeah. Oh, maybe we did. We tied him up to the rocket shaft and blasted him to smithereens.
Up his
Yeah, there's
shaft?
just a picture of Will Ferrell exploding.
There were a couple fountains in here too that turned out pretty nice. These are the same one right next to each other, obviously. One was a little bit ahead of the other one. We got another fountain. These ones are cool that have the
Oh,
mostly
that one's
red and
sick.
then the white spraying about because it reminds me of like a noir film, with the color scheme. I know, brilliant inventive thought there, but this is the money shot. This is the money shot. This is the first one that I posted on my front page. Like,
The light in the middle of the explosion makes it look like the sun, like just a bunch of rays.
You know what I think of when I see this? Hot dogs and beer, and a guy
And
a guy
freedom.
on a horse
America.
marching through the fog with a lantern. What was his name?
oh, Paul Revere.
Yeah, Paul Revere.
Yeah. You know what? You know what? Funny enough, this was shot on the 4th of July, man. You wouldn't believe it, but coincidence, right? That you thought of all that stuff and it was shot on the
America.
4th of July.
That's crazy.
Crazy,
That's
right?
crazy.
Unbelievable.
You know what
That's-
I think when I see this picture? What the fuck is a kilometer? That's
Yes,
exactly
yes.
Dude,
What the fuck is a
exactly.
kilometer?
This image just makes me think of toxic masculinity and why it's
Yeah,
actually beneficial.
We're going way out of left field.
You know what this picture reminds me of? Severed hands. Let's salute to all the severed hands lost during the holiday weekend.
This this would be 10 times funnier if the viewers at home couldn't see what we were talking about.
Yeah,
So they were just
yeah,
hearing
right.
this.
Should we describe the images to them? It's a big flower burst with red and purplish blue with little white sparkles in a yellow core.
That is a beautiful shot.
This
you know
one-
what that looks like?
What's that?
Imagine like the sperm going to the womb, but it caught blood on the way. I think I need to go to sleep.
That is something else. Oh man.
See, this is sort of what we're used to seeing out of the Tron franchise.
Yes, Tron, yeah.
Do you guys think my dental school's admissions will watch this podcast and just think I'm a moron and not accept me because I just said that?
When I send it to
I
them,
think it's very
probably,
possible.
Yeah, I'll be sending it to
Yeah.
them. They need to know that you're a funny guy.
In other news, since our last episode, I got a root canal, and to tell you anything about my dentist and the kind of guy that he is, there was a part during the procedure where we were about halfway through, and he was like, "How are you doing, buddy?" I gave him a thumbs up, and he was like, "I'm doing good too, in case you were wondering."
Dentists love to talk.
And then, like, when he got started, so he starts putting on his gloves, and he's like, "I just drank 3 cups of coffee, and I'm feeling zooted right now."
I've had patients and whatnot, and I've been shadowing a pediatric dentist, and I've seen some cases, man. Pediatric dentistry is not for the weak. Pediatric shadowing is definitely a filter for whether you want to do it or not, more than any other specialty, I think, because for the record, I'm not saying that I'm switching up. I still want to do pediatrics if given the chance. But if for some reason, if someone shadows an orthodontist or shadows an endodontist or like a perio or whatever other specialty there is, they're not gonna get filtered as much as it is in pediatrics. Like the difference of pediatrics, approaching pediatrics in general dentistry is completely different from any other field. So I didn't consider of how big of a filter it actually is to actually see how it is dealing with kids every single day, dude. It's tough.
Like every kid, the range, the spectrum of child behavior is so wide as well. You will get the occasional like angel that is perfect and whatever, but then there are way more of the crazy ones than there are.
Yeah.
Here's
the thing: the dentist has to be able to use any available tool to determine how well behaved the kid is before touching them. So, for instance, Anthony, if you bring in your kid to my clinic, right? And my assistant takes an X-ray of your kid, and it's a good X-ray, I can already tell that kid is well behaved because it's a good quality of an X-ray. Like I can tell that kid sat through the X-ray.
right.
But if it's a shitty ass X-ray, I can tell that kid is not gonna behave.
Yeah,
You understand?
it's foreshadowing.
There's other things. There's other things, but like that's a big tell.
Dude, Kansas dental procedures put you on. If you have to get dental procedures, go to Kansas to do it. The entirety of my root canal and my prior dental cleaning, only made my balance at my dentist $280.
Question. Do you have insurance?
Yeah, I have really
Okay,
good
there you
dental.
go. Come on, man. So 280 was your par, man. Come on, you have to say that.
He's fucking like lying to people maliciously over here. Like,
Like
what is
this
happening?
guy.
No. I am not. I am not. If I did research before I got my root canal, and I was looking at base pay even with insurance, and with insurance, base pay for a root canal is still typically around $600 to $1,000. Now, granted, that varies
No,
depending on the type of
I
tooth
will
that they're
say,
doing the root
yes.
canal on.
280 is still a good deal. Don't get me wrong. 280 is still a good deal. The only reason why I asked if you had insurance or not is because 280 without insurance is unprecedented. Like, I've never heard about that. Well, if we have nothing else to talk about, I have something else to bring up, unless you guys want to cut me and say something.
Oh no, please do.
Okay, so another thing I forgot to mention in regards to my path to dental school, some schools require what is called a Casper test, and I think you guys are gonna like this test because I had fun taking this test.
Do they
Seriously.
quiz you on ghosts?
They quiz you, but not on ghosts. But you were close. We'll get there. So
Why do they call it the Casper test?
it's called the Casper test because it stands for, what does it stand for again? Quick research. Computer-based assessment for sampling personal characteristics.
Someone just wanted to make an acronym with the word Casper.
Well, listen, he's the friendly ghost, so if you can't conduct yourself, then
So I'll just be quick about it. They give you 11 questions, 11 scenarios, and you have to judge the scenario. You're the judge of a situation.
okay.
So, for instance, I'll give you guys an example. My favorite one, and it was also my favorite response, there was a meeting in the town hall, and they were discussing adding lighting in the city. So, one side of the community wants to add more lights to make some streets safer, and the other side of the community does not because of light pollution and to protect wildlife. So, then they ask you, they say, well, we have to hear both sides of the community, yada yada. What would you do? So then you have to record. In this case, there's a video responses and type responses. This one specifically was a video response. So you have to have your webcam, whatever the fuck you have to speak anyways. In the Casper test, generally, unless it's something very obvious in the extreme, they want you to consider both sides. They don't want you to jump to a conclusion.
Sure.
You have to think about why each side is saying what they're saying.
Yeah, get to the root of the argument so you understand it most.
Yeah. So here's the answer that I came up with, and then maybe by giving this answer, you guys understand the dynamics of this. I said, because safety seems to be the concern for the side of the community that wants to add lights, we probably need a short-term solution. However, I want to explore long-term solutions as well. So here's what I said. For short-term, I believe adding motion sensor lights would be the best solution, because if you have motion sensor lights, you can provide the lighting to people that want the lights in those areas temporarily. And then when they're not there and the lights go off, it's not affecting wildlife and pollution as much. So that was my short-term solution. And then for the long term, I said there would have to be some kind of research to explore how impactful lights actually are to adding safety to those areas. Because if it actually doesn't make them safer at all, we shouldn't add them at all. We wouldn't waste resources. It wouldn't make those areas safer. So there's no point. So motion sensor lights for the short term and thorough research in the long term.
Yeah, and I, just based on this prompt, I have a lot of questions that I would need to ask before coming to a conclusion anyway as well. Like, if we went with motion sensor lights, right? What happens if there's a driver on the road who's concentrating and it's dark, and then all of a sudden it's light, and that throws them off, right? That throws their vision off, and so now that becomes a problem, right? Whereas also, if we're talking about safety in certain areas, what happens to areas, other areas that are no longer lit? So this one area is lit, this new area is not lit anymore, or it is still not lit.
It goes back to my point. We need to have research as well.
All the
right?
danger moves into that neighborhood if we're talking about like crime and whatnot or something like that, right? So there's just so many other factors to consider. And also the other thing to consider is where the light addition will be taking place. Is it a more urban environment? Is it a suburban or a rural environment, right? If it's a more rural environment, maybe the idea is to not have lighting in that area because it's a rural environment. There's a lot of wildlife, not a lot of people. Whereas in a more urban environment, it would make a lot more sense to have public lighting. So there are just a ton of factors at play. And I totally get what you're saying, where you really have to think about the whole picture.
I love your answer, and you're not wrong whatsoever. But the test, you have 30 seconds to think about it and a minute to answer. So it's and it has to be like straightforward. I would love to like sit down and discuss every single factor like you wanted, but for the test, it's really tight.
Well,
You know,
I feel
so
like I did it in 60 seconds.
I don't think that was 60 seconds.
It was close enough.
It was a great
Close
answer. It
enough.
was a great answer though.
I'd give it 90
It
seconds.
was it was
90.
a great
Something
answer
like
though.
that.
So another example, for instance, and they had a follow up question for that one. Would your answer change if the people of the side of the community requesting more lights were students studying at night, and the side of the community asking for no more lights were retirees and retirement homes? And I said no, because there's still voices from the community that both must be heard.
Well, I would be incredibly ageist.
You shouldn't base your decisions with tax dollars on demographics like that.
Yeah. If you pay in, you should be protected.
Yeah, which is exactly why I said like to me that doesn't matter. They're still in their rights to express their concerns. There's that's what I said. There was another one that I liked. You and this I just gave you one that you kind of take a neutral stance, right? But there was one where I felt there was a right answer. You are living with two roommates. You guys are in the table having a conversation, and then roommate one goes, do you guys remember that set of pants that I wanted to buy? And you guys said that you guys didn't want to use it, so you wouldn't help me pay for it. And roommate 2 goes, yeah, I remember that. So she acknowledged the agreement. And then roommate 1 goes like, oh, well, that's weird because yesterday I saw my pants dirty in the dishwasher and I didn't use them. So then roommate 2 goes, okay, I admit I used your pants. And roommate 1 goes, okay, well, you didn't even clean them, so I had to clean them before using them. Roommate 2 goes, okay, so if I clean them when I use them, would that be okay with you? Roommate 1 goes, no, you still have to pay me because that was our initial agreement. And then they ask me, what do you think? Like, I think roommate 2 has to fucking pay the pants. I mean, what else? If she's going to use them, she has to pay them.
I actually think that I have the most... I'm not going to say that I have the most qualifications to talk on this, but I am the only one who's lived in a 3-person roommate situation. Quite frankly, if you're cool with your roommates and you guys have a lot of respect for each other, it shouldn't matter if they use it as long as they take care of it. I think it's more of a problem if you were to if you agree to a certain situation and then they go against the agreement, then it's a
That's
problem.
the problem.
That's what it sounds like.
But
yeah, they were very clear about it in the video.
But I'm saying if they we're talking like you said, hey, if I use it but I clean it after I use it, like immediately after use, and it's ready for you, is that okay? And them saying no, you still have to pay. I think that's ridiculous. I think that if you're in a roommate situation, most of the time you care about that other person that you're living with, at least minorly. And for something like that where it's like, okay, as long as you take care of what I own, you don't damage it, or if you do damage it, you have to replace it, and there's like that kind of an agreement, then I think it's fine. But I don't think that you should be like, oh no, you have to pay me to use this, because then at the end when you guys all move out, well, I paid you to use that stuff, so technically speaking, I have part ownership of it because I paid you for it, instead of just, hey, you used it, you took care of it, but I did pay for it, so I own it, so I'm going to take it when we leave. You get what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying. I don't think you're wrong, but I think you're applying it to a real world scenario where people actually have connections. I clearly got the vibe in the video that there was an agreement in place that was broken by the second roommate. And then she tried to play it off like, oh, okay, well, I didn't even clean them. But if I clean them, I wouldn't have to pay for them, right? Like, she's completely disregarding their agreement in the first place. So I think that's where the problem lied.
Yeah,
I feel like she tried to take
totally
advantage.
fair. I think in that situation, she's in the wrong.
Individual scenarios like that will always be far too nuanced to put any kind of blanket statement. So, addressing it specifically by the merits of that story alone is the best course of action. Actually, though, I because we're talking about this and it's super interesting to me, if you have all the questions or a rough idea of what the questions were, I would actually love to dedicate an episode to us taking the Casper test together.
Could be really cool. I actually think that we all would agree more than disagree on a lot of things.
Maybe.
I feel like we all philosophically are very reasonable people and like to find the best solution for everybody more so than the best solution for ourselves.
I think most people are that way, or most people within a certain income range are
So
that
the
way.
reason
You know what I mean?
the reason why I like the test is that it provokes you to think, and it serves like a bunch of metaphors that apply to what you're gonna do in the field, right? You're gonna have to face these situations different situations, but that you're gonna have to like consider two sides and come to an agreement in some way, right? I like that it truly applies to what I'm striving to do. It was fun. Like the scenarios weren't bad.
Jacob, I feel like you maybe 5 minutes ago had something else that you wanted to say.
Yeah, I mean, I have quite a few things going on in my life that are pretty fun. You know, I'm getting back into golf, and when I say back into it, I mean I'm like actually like diving headfirst into it for the first time. I've played golf since I was 12, but I've never been like significantly decent at it. I've always been bad, which to be fair, most people who play golf are bad at golf. I am starting to get better at it, and me getting better at it is making me enjoy it 10 times more. I used to be like a double bogey, occasionally hits a good shot type of player. And now I'm starting to get to the point where I'm playing between bogey and par golf with nothing like spectacular equipment wise, which is really fun for me. Like I'm having so much fun just learning the sport, getting better at my game. And honestly, it's giving me more time to spend with my dad too, which is always going to be a positive if I can get more time with him. That's been a massive like positive thing that has been going on for me for the last couple months where I've just been enjoying golf quite a bit. We got the Thunder jobbing the NBA, being the benefit of basically everything. Fully healthy team goes against a team where superstar gets injured. Refs benefit your
He's not
team.
even playing next year.
Really fucked up situation with
Yeah.
Halliburton. Sucks to see it, man. Especially because the Pacers are another team that's just like easy to root for, one that you want to succeed. If they weren't
Brutal,
playing
man.
against the Thunder, I would have been cheering for them, type of situation. And people are gonna say that I'm bitching, and I do not care. It fucking sucks that my team's first NBA Finals championship has a massive asterisk around it because of multiple things that just were
Who
out of
cares,
the
bro?
ordinary that
Who cares,
benefited
bro?
them.
You as a fan, you want a chip, bro. Fuck that shit, bro.
I agree, but I
I couldn't
disagree.
say it
Like
enough, bro.
I don't think you realize how much it invalidates the championship.
Do you think Patriots fans feel sorry about the tuck rule?
No, but I also
Do
think
you think they put an
A
asterisk?
lot of
That's
Patriots
a
fans
different
also
situation.
are delusional and think that the Tuck rule was an okay rule and should have stayed in the NFL. I do think it's a little bit different.
It's a different situation. The officials in that case officiated it how it was written in the rules and how it was supposed to be at the time. And it was a problem that got fixed eventually with the tuck rule being implemented. But with the Thunder, it's just they openly got the benefit of official bias.
I think you may have misunderstood what the whole Tuck rule situation was. There wasn't a rule. Then the referees interpreted it a certain way. Then the rule came, and then a decade later the rule was taken away again. That's what the Tuck rule timeline was. The Tuck rule wasn't a thing during that game when that was played. The Tuck rule
Yeah.
was invented because
Oh.
of that play. It's like the
Oh shit.
it's like the catcher interference or at home plate.
Yeah.
That new
Mm-hmm.
rule started because of Buster Posey's injury in 2011.
Which is understandable, but the way that obstruction has been ruled in Major League Baseball is such a joke because they
It
were
is, though.
originally going to put an emphasis on calling. They had the same problem with the NFL where they're like, okay, this hasn't been called. We have this rule. It needs to be like officiated properly, and so there's an emphasis to call it early on in the season, and then it just fades away. Once you get it more into the game because it doesn't belong in the sport.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't. If you are fielding a catch, you should not have to worry about being in front of the runner. If you are attempting to make a play on the ball, you should not have to give a single fuck about where the base runner is. That is how it's interpreted as a fielder. When you are going to field a ball, you have the right of way to get to that ball. The base runner has to get out of your way. Why is it different when they're catching a ball from the outfield to get a tag?
I think the key difference is if someone is automatically lined up in the path, which is often the case with the catcher obstruction when it is called. What happens is the catcher is blocking home plate before the ball gets there. Then when the ball gets there, of course, they're already there. Whereas if you stand a couple steps or a step even in front of home plate where you're not in the path, then you back up if you need to get to the ball, then that's not obstruction, So the other problem, though, is, of course, umpire interpretation or umpire bullshit, right? where an umpire will see that the catcher is a step ahead of home plate and not in the base path, that will still call obstruction for whatever the fuck reason, you know? There's always the human element to a lot of these rules too, which is the most unfortunate aspect of them. Because a lot of rules are maybe perfect on paper, but are made imperfect because of how they're implemented.
Yeah, I think that's a big issue with sports officiating, and it's I don't even know how we can reduce it, but football and even
Make
hockey to an
less
extent,
rules that are up to interpretation. That's the
less
simplest way to
rules,
do it.
I guess,
Especially in
but
a sport like baseball where everything is supposed to be objective. The only thing that is quote unquote subjective right now is the strike zone. And it shouldn't be. The strike zone should be objective. That
no,
is a thing
no.
that should be outlined in a rule that this is what is a strike, and we do not have that.
No, I completely agree. But we can agree that football suffers from this way more than baseball, right? So
No.
many rules in football
Yes,
are
football does.
interpretive.
You just said, Jacob, that there's one basically aspect of MLB baseball that this exists in. And even with the worst umpires in baseball, their success rate is 88 to 90%. Like, they're doing still a very good job. The reason that they're so bad is because there are people doing 96 to 98%. You know, then that should be the standard. You know what I mean? NFL straight up just has awful officiating crews that blatantly almost fix games.
That Vikings Rams game
That was
is
fixed.
one that's
There's no way that wasn't fixed.
it's going to be forgotten about, but that game needs to be
Yeah,
covered for
yeah,
years
yeah.
because it is a case A1 example of officials costing a game in a way that had no business for them to cost the game.
Yeah.
Like there's no justification for anything that they called in that game.
It pisses me off how some games are decided on who's officiating. Like if there's an important pass interference or holding, some crews are gonna call it, some crews are not. Like it cannot be that way. It cannot be that way. There has to be a consensus. Like I understand some calls are tight. I'm not gonna say they're gonna get every single call in a consensus, right? But there's way too much interpretation when it comes to pass interference. There's way too much. Like some crews say that there wasn't enough force or there wasn't enough grab. What the fuck is it?
Even on what a catch is, the
Oh, it
NFL
didn't
rules.
interfere enough. Like
The
what the
NFL
fuck?
rules still have not defined what exactly a catch is.
We don't know what a catch
we
is.
don't really know what a football move is still, you know? And
A
it's been
football
years.
move, yeah. I'm tired of seeing running backs catching the football on a flat. They step once. They clearly have control of the football, but because they only step once, they get fumbled. It doesn't count as a football move because they only step once. Like they clearly have control of the football. Like that has to be a fumble, but they only step once. Even if they're in the process of turning upward, it's not considered a football move. I think that's bullshit. Like they clearly have control of the football.
It's a problem. I think instant replay is also an under talk. Like it's not talked about enough how bad instant replay is.
Yeah, it's not used enough.
It's not used enough, and when it is used, it's often misused. I mean, I've brought this up enough times, but I'm sure, I mean, not enough other people outside of Royals fans have brought it up. The whole there was a stolen base in the ALDS last year that resulted in the Yankees winning a game against the Royals where they would have lost if they didn't have that run. Or sorry, if they didn't have that runner on because they scored multiple runs throughout the inning, and that would have been the third out at second base. He was clearly out. Like there is a gap between his hand and the bag, and he is being tagged. Like he is out by every definition of out.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't get overturned either because one, the Yankees are a way more marketable team than the Kansas City Royals. Like we all fucking know that. That's as easy as a fact as 2 + 2 is 4. Like the Yankees make more money than the Royals. It is a fact.
And the MLB review officials are based in New York. Based on rule, instant replay, and everything like that, there will always be an East Coast bias for just that reason. The fact that they're based in New York. Those teams will always get the upper hand.
And it's really bad for the game. Like there's no instant replay with the Saints pass interference call, so I get it. It was a fucked up judgment call. The official got it wrong. He admitted he got it wrong.
But they have to come back. When it's egregious like that, they have to come back and say something. That missed face mask call that was missed.
Pass interference.
No, the face mask. The best yeah, I'm talking about the Saints. Yeah, the Saints but I'm talking about the wild card game last year. The face mask that wasn't called in the end zone.
Not in the wild
Vikings
card.
Rams
No,
was no.
they
The
played in
wild
the
card
wild
game was
card.
fine. It was
Okay, I'm
it was a
mixing it up then.
Monday. It was like either a Monday night or Thursday night game where they were playing on prime
I think it
time.
was
Okay,
Monday.
but
And the
okay, I'm mixing it up then. But you guys know what play I'm talking
Yes,
about.
yeah.
There has to be some form of interference by instant replay there. Like that cannot be missed. Like, it's something ridiculous. It changes the game. How is it not called?
Yeah.
why is the Sky Judge a thing if the Sky Judge doesn't do anything?
Exactly.
The Sky Judge's whole job is to solve this problem of missed calls that are very evident that just don't get seen by the human eye. And he is never used.
Yeah, I'm with you with the Sky Judge thing. I don't think it's being used the way that it should be. But I will also say, to be charitable to the NFL for a minute, we at home don't get every review or replay angle that the officials obviously get. So they could very well be getting Sky Judge. We just don't see it. Whether that means that the Sky Judge is being implemented the way it should is still up for debate. But point is, I do think that they're using it. It's just we don't see it at home.
I'm not saying that they're not using it. I just don't think they're enforcing it.
I don't think Sky Judges are calling out officials for wrong calls enough either. If an official makes a bad holding call, the Sky Judge should be able to call that out, and it doesn't happen.
That's something they do in soccer. I give soccer a lot of shit, and I still give VAR a lot of shit in soccer because sometimes they do miss. But sometimes they go like, "Listen, dude, you're wrong. Like you have to go back on this. You have to review it on the."
I think VAR is actually pretty consistent in most cases. It is imperfect, but I do think that because soccer is just a much more, well, it's been around for a lot longer, right? But they're just much more clearly defined rules that it's a lot easier to just say yes and
I agree.
no.
I'll talk about an example that happened in the Club World Cup that I thought was absurd that we can talk about. And you coach soccer, so you're gonna understand what I'm saying. But yes, it's more defined than the NFL for sure. Football has this big issue of interpretation that I hate. I hate.
There aren't enough yes and no's in the NFL. It's all like maybe, 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 maybe.
Like, maybe not enough grab or
yeah.
No football move. We talked about that. Or like, his right foot was he never. So he makes a catch, right? But his right foot was in as he caught the ball. Then left foot. Right foot was out. Is that a catch? We still don't know. We still don't know if the right foot counts initially.
The toe versus foot thing. How that's been called differently a few times in the last couple of years.
2 foot, 2 feet versus the same foot twice versus 2 feet that we still don't know.
Exactly.
Chin sometimes not even enforced. I want to talk about the soccer example since I just brought it up. So it was the Fluminense and Chelsea game in the semifinals, and I don't know the players involved. I remember the center back for Chelsea. What was his name? Shalaba, in the small area, and so there was a crosser, like a shallow crosser, and he had his arms out like this. Shalaba was like this. He didn't have his arms behind him, waiting for the cross, or it weren't close like this. He was like this, right? So the crosser comes in, and he sees that his arms are out, so he tries to bring them in, right? And as he's bringing them in, right, and as the arms are closer here, he gets a handball, right? So then ref calls it a handball and gives a penalty, but then VAR calls it and tells him to take a look at it, and he goes back and says no penalty. He gives no penalty to Shalaba, and I thought it was egregiously a handball. Fluminense Chelsea handball.
Yeah, you got to be looking on Twitter, not YouTube,
dude.
Anthony.
No, I found it.
There's too much racism on Twitter. I don't want to pull it up.
Dude, just filter out Grok tweets.
Yeah, maybe that'll solve it. No, there was this altercation that was posted by some page or whatever at a Mets game, I think, where this woman was kicking this guy in the back, and it was, he wasn't doing anything. He was
Dude,
just
I saw that. No, I saw that.
The replies are just unbelievable.
That's right. You retweeted it. Dude. No, I saw that, and I can't remember if I reposted it too, but no, it was so egregious of one, racism, but two, there were some pretty funny replies.
There were a couple funny ones if you scroll far enough down, but like the top
reply was,
all the top ones are like,
my top reply. The top reply on that tweet for me was I would have turned around, pulled her shoes off, and started sucking her toes.
Oh, I did see that one. Yeah, that wasn't the first one for me though.
Tell me this is not a penalty.
I mean, look, the problem is that handball is a handball. You know, incidental or not, it's a handball, and that is obviously it hits his arm. You know, even if he's bringing it close to him, trying to get out of the way, maybe. But it honestly, even from that angle, it looks a little intentional.
It looks like he's putting his hand in front of it.
Yeah,
He
like
had time to dodge it. It feels like.
right,
Dude,
right.
it's the MLB thing. It's the MLB thing of you're turning, but you're still leaning into the pitch. Like, yeah, you could say, "Oh, well, you're taught to
Yeah.
turn away," but he's still clearly leaning into the ball there.
Sometimes,
Is there like an interpretation where incidental handball is okay?
Right, so I
and
was
not
just
a
about to
penalty?
touch on that. So there are examples.
There another one happened recently, right? There was one that just happened. I think it was during the final, actually, where a player was falling to the ground and caught himself with his hands, and as
That was
as he was
for the
catching
Cup,
himself.
Mexico and U.S. Mexico and U.S.
Okay, yeah.
But
Yeah.
that was egregious. That was egregious. That was egregious. That
Sure,
was
sure,
ridiculous.
but that sparked a debate too, right? Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so when
Yeah,
he
because he's trying to
fell,
support himself,
when he
yeah.
fell, yeah. So there is an instance like
are,
similar
yeah.
to that, but obviously not when
It's-
it's in the fucking box, and you know what I mean. Like that was it was such bullshit, but
Yeah,
whatever.
sometimes the defender has his arms close to his body from the get go, and if the ball is kicked into his hands, it's usually not called a handball.
Yeah, because
It's usually
it would
not
hit
called.
your body anyway.
It,
Yeah.
It's usually not called a handball, right? But in that case, he had his arms out in the first place. I don't know.
Right.
I don't like the call,
No, I'm with you there. That should have stood as handball for sure.
and it changed the game. It would have been a 1-1 if Fluminense had scored on a penalty. It would have been 1-1. Well, but that's it for me. That's it for me. I talked everything that I wanted to talk about.
I just wanted to give a quick update on the movies I've seen since the last episode. Did I talk about bringing her back on the last episode?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, so kicking it off, I'm going to talk about Materialist. That's going to be a 4-star movie. Me and Anthony agree this movie was great. 4-star movie. Acting was amazing. The story was phenomenal. I enjoyed every bit of it. I thought it was a great movie. Honestly, it's probably one of my favorite romance movies of all time, even though I do think that the whole end romance is a bit underwhelming just because there's not like they preach they're trying to like fit a certain thing, but at the end of the day they just end up the exact same and they just accept that they're the same, which is okay, but it just didn't do a lot for me as far as ending goes. But the rest of the movie was great. I loved the whole time I watched it. I had a ton of fun with it. I thought Pedro Pascal played an interesting character while also being antisocial and like closed off for most of it. But I thought that movie was great. Highly recommend Materialist to anybody who wants to go see a high quality movie that's not going to be part of a big blockbuster franchise that has a good budget but well made. I hadn't seen How to Train Your Dragon yet. I don't think that movie I gave 2.5 stars. My rating is lower than it probably is as a film, particularly because I hated the casting. I thought the casting of the film was bad. Outside of Gerard Butler, the casting was pretty bad. The acting was okay, but I mean, it's How to Train Your Dragon. The story is high quality. The music is amazing. The dragons look good, although I didn't like how Toothless looked in the movie. I acknowledge that he is supposed to be a little bit derpy in nature. I just don't think that live action animation isn't, or I don't think live action portrays the emotion and the character as well as animation does, which me and Anthony agree on 100%. The dinosaurs lose all of their, or sorry, not dinosaurs, the dragons lose all of their personality in this movie.
Not just the dragons, though, for me. I also have an issue with the physicality of the characters in animation versus live action. When you're doing a shot for shot remake, some of the things that happen or some of the things that the characters are supposed to do just don't look nearly as natural because people in live action don't move the same way that you can animate a character to move. So that was my other big problem. It's
Other than that movie, I've also seen Jurassic World Rebirth, as has Anthony. We have very differing opinions on this movie. I think it's a 1-star film. Overall, I think the storyline is terrible. I think the storyline is just the most mediocre piece of dog shit that you can get. The dinosaurs look amazing. They look great. They're very, very well CGI animated, and the practical effects look good in the movie. The movie looks gorgeous, but the problem I have with it is the plot is terrible. The acting is just as bad, if not worse. and I didn't feel any tension from any of the scenes, which ultimately affected how I felt about the whole dinosaur movie, and it didn't allow me to enjoy it. Anthony, however, had much more positive things to say about it.
I'm not gonna reiterate much. Just a 3.5 stars. I had a good time with it. I certainly didn't have the same issues you did, but we are consistent as far as the visuals are concerned. Very well shot, very well lit, great color use, great effects, stuff like that.
I would accept the argument that this is the best the dinosaurs have looked in the franchise. I think that they objectively looked better than they have in any of them, and obviously that's partially due to technological advancement. You don't agree with that?
I still think the original Jurassic Park is the best looking,
Then
and the
we wouldn't
fact
disagree on
and
anything.
the fact that they look as good as they do still today just showcases how timeless and masterful everything in that movie is.
And it's also something I don't know if we share the same view on this, but I will always be biased towards practical effects. I am not a fan of CGI personally. I think that it most of the time makes movies look it breaks the fourth wall in movies too much for me
It's
when it's
like
poorly
AI.
done.
It's like AI, right? CGI is meant to be an enhancer or a tool to assist. And when you rely on it solely, it becomes a problem. It becomes too clean, too sterile of an environment, and no longer feels real.
Where CGI has its uses, it definitely is required in some things, but when you can do things practically, it looks and it shows in the film. It just looks 10 times better, and it's such an enhancer for movies that it makes me respect movies so much more when they actually do
Respect the
practical
craft.
effects over CGI. An example of this is The Cabin in the Woods. It's a horror movie from 2012. The director, when he was making the movie, before he started production, he set out the goal to do only practical effects. He didn't want to use CGI. Eventually, he had to accept that he was going to have to use CGI for it because there's a specific scene in the movie where the only that like I don't know if you've ever read a movie script before, but they're a lot differently written than movie or than books are. And the whole script page for one of the scenes is just chaos ensues. And the whole scene is because if you don't know the movie, there's basically a ton of different like types of things that can end up being the killer, and it roughly makes all of the horror movies of all time explainable by they could just be in the Cabin of the Woods universe. But basically, you have all these different types of killers exploding out of elevators at the same time, and it's all over the screen. And he was, when he was trying to make this scene practical, he was like, I just can't. And so if you I would highly encourage everybody to look into the making of The Cabin in the Woods because it's a really cool story of how the movie was built with all the practical effects, but also how they were able to merge the practical effects with CGI to make it look real instead of just only relying on CGI because the director outright did not want to use CGI, and I respect that entirely
Yeah,
because it takes 10 times it takes 10 times more of the effort. Like CGI is 100 times more efficient than practical effects are and is way more affordable. So when practical effects are done well and right, it's such an appreciable thing because of how much work goes into it. And I love the Cabin in the Woods example.
in most cases, it's more efficient and cheaper. Not always, though. But my exhibit A, as far as recent stuff is concerned, is Oppenheimer. It's the Trinity sequence is so much more impactful and meaningful when you know that it wasn't a fake explosion. Like, they didn't light a nuke, but they created explosions for that sequence. Anyway, um, yeah. So very cool stuff. Anything else you saw?
I think I'm gonna see F1 tomorrow. You saw that movie. If you want to give a brief description of it.
Yeah, just a quick 4 stars. Really, really fun, high octane electric stuff. I also watched Elio, really cute Pixar animated film. It's a shame that it's a bombing, but that's what happens when you don't market your movie. And then 28 years later, fantastic continuation of the franchise. Really excited to see the Bone Temple in a few months.
Did you say that Elio is a box office bomb so far?
It is a bomb. Yeah, it's flopping. Nobody's showing up because they didn't market it.
I think that's well for me and you. it was well. I thought the trailer looks great. I kind of want to see it even just as an adult because I think it's going to be a high quality like Pixar film. And that surprises me that it's not performing well given how well the trailer is made. I actually think the trailer is one of the best
But
trailers on the year
nobody
so
saw
far.
the trailer. That's the problem. And when you have the How to Train Your Dragon trailer, which dropped 6 months ago, and it's an IP that everybody knows, everyone's going to show up to see that. And when you have the Lilo and Stitch trailer, another live action remake, everyone shows up to go see it because they already know what Lilo and Stitch is. It's a familiar IP. Everything is based on IP now versus going to see an original story. And Elio's an original story, and it is suffering because of it. It's just a shame. But again, market your movie, Disney. I mean, you're Disney. Market your damn movie.
Guys, should I order Baja Blast?
Right now?
Just DoorDash a Baja Blast.
It's a rather simple question.
Real quick, okay. One, the answer is yes, but two, I really want to not theory craft, real quick. But I want to talk about circumstances. Is DoorDashing a Baja Blast in Florida more expensive than buying a bottle of Moscato in Kansas? Because I want you to pull up your DoorDash and see how expensive it is with tip. I got this bottle of Moscato for $9.
That's for sure more
We'll
expensive. I don't
Yeah.
even have to check.
Yeah.
It's
even
for
close.
sure. I don't even have to check.
Comfortably, I would say $5 more.
There's no way that you can DoorDash a Baja Blast for $3 or $4.
No, we're saying the flip side.
$14 is what I'm saying.
$14.
Oh, you're saying that the Baja Blast is easily more expensive than the Baja?
Yes,
That's
yes.
hilarious.
100%.
100%. I don't even have to check.
100%.
I don't even have to check. But I'm checking because I'm ordering it.
I would be shocked if it's even $2 within $2. And that's the thing. Like this delivery service crap. Like I know whatever you're doing it right now, but it is such a scam, guys. Such a fucking
Yeah,
like
it's ridiculous.
Just drive.
99% of the
drive,
time,
dude.
just
Should
get
I order-
off your ass and drive. It's so much cheaper.
How's the zero sugar?
No idea.
Is it bullcrap,
It's
Jacob?
bad. It's bad.
It's bad. There you go.
I have fried chicken in my fridge for after the pod, and I cannot wait to air fry that sucker and cook it. Not cook it, but eat it.
All right. Well, Jacob, you started us off. You want to give us our coastal call?
Coastal call.
Thank you everybody for listening to our episode. A lot
This
of small
very
talk
long-ass
today,
episode.
just kind of getting back into the groove. We haven't recorded in I think 3 weeks, so bear with us if it took us a little bit to get the rust knocked off. Tune in to Coast2Coast next week for our future episode.
Goated.
Thank you. Bye bye.
See you guys.